This is the ASEAN TV Lizard Flare. It's advertised as a rugged roadside flare without the flame. And this is a version I found on Amazon that looks a lot like it. Today I'm going to compare these two head to head to see if there's any difference in function, because there's definitely a difference in price. Let's get to the bottom of it in today's video. Let's first take a look back at the unboxing and see how that went. All right, how about a double unboxing? This is how they came. They both just came in a box. No commercial packaging whatsoever. Let's crack open the Lizard Flare first. Now the Amazon. This one has a nice little case with it. That's good. And here we go. All right. As you can see, they both look very similar. Look at this. Wow, that's similar. The only difference is the color and the logo right here. I don't see much of a difference. Both of them have 15 lights, 12 around the perimeter and 3 in the center here. Both have 9 light patterns, including an SOS mode. Both have 360 degrees of visibility. Both have a magnetic feature to them. Both say they can be seen from a mile away. The Lizard has no mention of being waterproof, but this one from Amazon says it's IP67. The Amazon listing states that it requires 3 AAA batteries. Nowhere in the Lizard Flare commercial website does it mention the batteries. I thought it was rechargeable, but no, it takes 3 AAA batteries. Both of them do. They both have a hook that looks pretty similar. I guess there is a difference. This one's kind of flat and this one's kind of curved. All right, so I have to buy 36 AAA batteries and get started. The Lizard Flare is a new ASEAN TV product from Bulbhead. I paid $50.98 direct from the website. The Amazon version, I paid $32.99 for 6. It's currently a 4.6 star rating among over 4,500 ratings, and it's an Amazon's choice. So even though they look identical, this set of 6 was almost 20 bucks more than this one. Is there a difference? We shall see. Before I even started my test, I took them out in the backyard, turned them on just to see how they basically looked, and here's how that went. I kind of want to show a few of the modes out here. Some of them are more interesting than others, but this is the rotate mode, which is my favorite, but I noticed that the Lizard Flare is a little bit more red and the Amazon is a little more orange. I'll go through a few more of the modes and let you show how they look. All right, single flash mode. You got Lizard on the left, Amazon on the right. This is the single flash mode. This is the alternate blinks. Solid on high, solid on low. This will be the SOS mode here. Something interesting that I noticed is that the SOS pattern, if you have a group of them all doing the SOS pattern and they're not completely synchronized, which would be very difficult to do, that SOS pattern gets kind of lost in there. You can't really tell it's an SOS pattern unless it's just one. There's kind of an unwritten feature on both of these. If you do a really long button hold, it will turn it off. You don't have to cycle through all of them. Holding it for like, I think 5 seconds will turn it completely off. They don't mention that in the instructions, but it is helpful. You may be wondering which one of these came first. Well, the Lizard Flare, its website was registered in February of 2022, and the Amazon listing for this one first appeared in November of 2018. So even though the Lizard Flare has been advertised and it's kind of a new product in 2022, it's not really a new design. Even though the design isn't new, the commercials are. And the tests that I'm doing in today's video are based on the Lizard Flare commercials. Maybe the most dramatic demonstration they do in the Lizard Flare commercials, they run over the big fire truck and they show that it still works. That's a very as seen on TV type demonstration, by the way. Well, I don't have access to a fire truck, but I did run over it with an SUV, and here's how that went. The Lizard Flare commercial shows a fire truck running over it. So I figured if a fire truck can do it, this SUV can. I've got JC up there, she's gonna help me run it over, and we're gonna see how they survive. If this one can survive it, then this one should too. Let's try both of them, see how it goes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do it. Okay. Here we go. Oh, keep going. Oh no. Oh, so much for the fire truck. Wow. I heard bad crackling there. The lights went out. Oh wait, they're working again. They're kind of working. Well, I think they're actually gonna work. Take these inside and take a closer look at them. All right, they look a little bit worse for wear. I think most of this is actually just markings from the tire. I don't think that's actually cracks or anything. The housing doesn't look like it's been damaged at all on either one of them. So I'm kind of impressed by that. Not only that, but they work. So even though it sounded ugly, they actually passed the test with flying colors. So I really wanted to see how these drained batteries, and surprisingly, there was a difference. Both of them have a solid non-flashing mode, both high and low. I set it on the high non-flashing mode, side by side with a stopwatch, and there was a difference. All right, these are on the solid high mode. I just put fresh batteries in there, hit the stopwatch, see how long they last. Not much changed after 1 hour, not much changed after 2 hours, but by hour 3, the lizard flare was starting to get a little bit more dim. It was dimmer by the 5-hour mark, even dimmer by the 6-hour mark, and by 7 hours, it was barely lit at all. But also by the 7-hour mark, the Amazon had actually run out of juice. What's interesting though is that the Amazon stayed bright the entire time while the lizard flare got dimmer and dimmer. So I repeated the test on low with 2 different units and fresh batteries, and the results were about the same. The Amazon burned bright all the way until it died, and the lizard flare just got dimmer and dimmer, although it did last 14 hours, although I think that most of that time it was so dim it really wasn't that useful. So I guess it really depends on the situation which one's better, bright for less time or dim for longer. How useful that is might depend on your situation. The commercial states that it can be seen up to a mile away. That's very easy to test out. I had my son Brandon help me out, and here's how that went. All right, they say it can be seen for up to a mile away. It's almost dark out here, and Brandon is exactly 1 mile away at the park down there. I'm gonna wave these around and see if he can see them with his naked eye and with his phone zoomed in. So here we go. All right, the lights are here, and Brandon is way down there. Brandon's there by the park, right there. I've got Brandon on the phone. Let's see what he sees. Brandon, do you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see me holding up a light with your naked eye?
Yeah. Naked eye?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see it with my naked eye.
Really? Let me try the other one. Hold on. I got a different one. This one?
Yep.
You see that one better? Okay. That's a different pattern. Let me try the same pattern on both of them. Oh, you can see it. Can you see both of them?
Yep, I can see it naked eye and video.
Sweet. So you can see it a mile away then. I have 2 of them going here.
I see them both.
Wow, and they're just sitting here on the wall. I was gonna hold them up in the air.
Yeah, I can see them.
Wow, that's great. I'm happy to hear that. The lizard flare and the Amazon version both could be seen from a mile away. What's impressive to me is that we got there early before the sun went down, and we were gonna wait for the sun to set and then start the test, but I figured let's just try it right now anyways when the sun's still a little bit out. And surprisingly, you could still see it. So I was actually kind of impressed by that test. It's also funny that I actually had tried doing the same test a couple nights earlier, and it's just a complete disaster. Brandon couldn't see me, there was some brush in the way, it started sprinkling on me, it was windy. So the first version of that test did not go so well. Do you see it? I don't know if he sees it or not.
I think it's because I'm at a lower elevation than you, so it's harder to see.
Okay. He's not seeing it, even with his camera zoomed in. Finally, I wanted to try the freeze test. Now, my intention was to put it in there at night and the next morning check it out. We'll end up being there for 3 days instead of 12 hours, but that didn't really matter because both of them passed the test. Check it out. See you guys in the morning. Bailey's very curious of how it's going to look today. Are they going to work? We shall see. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Let's see how cold these things are. That's pretty cold. That's pretty cold. Now for the big test. Are they going to work? And they work. Well, it was supposed to be 12 hours, ended up being 3 days, so I would definitely say it passed the cold test. So in the end, both of these worked well and passed pretty much every test I threw at it, including being run over. If I had to choose one of these, I would take the Amazon over the lizard flare, only because it's cheaper, and also because in the longevity test it burned much brighter. Even though this one lasted longer, I think brightness is probably more important in most cases than a long dim light. But since I have 12 of these, I'll be using these. I'll put some in my car, my son's car. I'll give some away. And speaking of giving them away, this is this month's giveaway on freakingreviews.com. I have a link below where you can enter that. And if you missed the giveaway, don't worry, I'm always giving away something on there. But if you've tried the lizard flare or an Amazon equivalent, tell me what you think in the comments below. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. I just dropped it. They roll. They do roll.